Wrong way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Magic Talk. I'm going to get rid of the splash screen so you can all see me. Hey, we have a new budding magician on set.
Yeah, he's trying his manipulations. Actually, he is right now he's trying to manipulate an iPad. I think that's his first magical.
Yes, he loves buttons. He's discovered how on a phone how to hang up on people, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, and we got the amazing Fred Blanco here.
Oh, gosh, thanks. Oh, he's gonna beat up that iPad.
Sure thing.
So take a bow. Yeah, give him a mic. Anyway, Josh, you might want to shut that mic off anyways because it's live. Not that one. That one's live. And we will be right back after this, after babysitting duties.
Rough Edge FM. Irritatingly irresistible internet radio at roughedgefm.com.
The art of magic is mystery, majesty, pageantry, and craft. It's also about history, marketing, networking, and more. All of these topics and others are discussed on Magic Talk with your hosts, renowned magician James Lantine and owner of the White Rabbit Magic Shop, Joshua Lantine, now on Rough Edge FM.
All right, we are back. And I think Josh had to go on baby duty.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's okay.
So how you doing, Fred? It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. I'm doing good. I'm doing much better now. I was sick for a little bit, but I'm nice and healthy now.
Cool. Got a lot of projects on the table.
I do. I'm heading out to Montana for an event in beginning of October, and we're opening a show this weekend at the Whittier Museum. We're doing a seance show for the spooky season, so we'll be there from the 20th until October 31st.
So, how many shows do you produce?
As many as I have time for. I'm a struggling performer, so you're always looking for the next gig, and you're always trying to get the gigs to overlap, so that we always got something going on. So yeah, I think right now I have probably 2-3 things that are solid, and when I say solid, I just mean that they're booked and they're definite. But as far as making some kind of profit, I mean, that's always a struggle.
It is. And so you and I have one thing in common. We produce a lot of our own shows. And so we find a venue and we book it and we start trying to sell tickets and doing all that kind of stuff. And there's actually I actually thought about one time I'm going to say actually like 16 times in this one sentence of writing a book on it, because there's so much that's involved, and you learn so much with everyone that you do, and then you start to realize that there's really not a lot out there to help magicians that are going and saying, hey, I want to four-wall something. And I want to, what's involved? What do I have to do insurance wise and promotional wise and selling the tickets and doing all that kind of stuff. So I know one of the tricks that we do a lot when we sell tickets is we do. Okay, so back in the 80s when I was in New Hampshire.
Oh, way back.
Yes, we're going to go way back on a little journey. This is how long ago I learned this. I got a phone call from the police association, the whatever association of police officers would like you to donate. Dad's back. Would like you to donate $50 in order to send an underprivileged child to the circus. And so your donation will help send and so what I found out they were doing is, number one, they weren't really affiliated with the police association. What they would do is they would give them a small donation as a result of going out and doing this campaign. And then what they would do is they would go to what you would call now the ARC Association, the ARC Foundation, for dealing with people that have challenges and things of that nature. They would go to a facility like that and they would just say, here's 50 tickets. Nobody would ever show up to these circuses, but they were sold out. And so I thought, well, that's pretty clever of a way to sell tickets. But I actually took it a little differently. Number one, I make sure that the tickets do in fact go to an association where they're going to get used. So I do make sure that like if we're going to give into the Boys or Girls Club or to a homeless shelter that has families, that those people have the means to be able to actually show up and go to the show, because I don't want the tickets wasted. But I go to businesses and I say, would you sponsor $150 for 10 tickets that we can then go over to the Boys and Girls Club and send a family of 4 or 5 to the show. And I found that to be far more easier to accomplish in getting businesses to sponsor or to contribute than I did going up to them and saying, hey, would you buy an ad for our program? And I learned that all the way back in the 80s.
So one of the things that I've been learning, especially with this show, is if you're going to do anything like that, it's important to, at least for me in my experience, could be someone else could have a different perspective on it, but it's important to develop relationships.
Yeah.
If you're producing something in a particular town or region, and it's a lot of work, but it's good to develop relationships, even on a very surface level. So that way, when it comes time to ask, it's different. They feel connected to you, and they're more apt to consider it, as opposed to just it feeling like you're doing a cold call or you're a door-to-door salesman. But that's with everything related to business. I think is relationships are really,
oh yeah,
and long term, like you try to invest in those things early on. You can't always, but when you're meeting people for the first time, you want to try to make them feel like you're interested in investing time and energy in them, so that way they feel like it's going to be a long-term thing. I think, I mean, that's just a theory.
I especially nowadays, I think there are so many places that lack social skills, especially since COVID.
Yeah, that killed it.
It's like you go into so many of these businesses now, and the social skills about how you feel when you walk into the business and things, the dynamics change. People are on their cell phone, or people don't even greet you when you come to the door. So I think anytime you go into an establishment, like you were saying, and you start building that relationship, people really attract to that because it's lacking in so many ways.
Yeah, and it's important if you do that, because not everybody does promotion that way anymore.
Right.
It's just hard work. But if you do that, make sure that you connect with, at the very least, the manager and eventually the owner, because anyone else below that isn't going to care.
Right.
And they're usually not going to have the skills to, and it's not a slam on them, but they're not really experienced enough to engage with you in that way.
Well, and most of them can't make the decision.
Right.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. But usually if you're talking to a successful business person, they know how to engage that way, because that's how they became successful.
Right.
I mean, that's what I've seen. So you want to kind of go right for the main honcho as soon as you can, if you can.
So Josh and I was talking to somebody the other day who I'm going to jump gears a little bit here.
Okay.
I just recently put out a book called The Magic Mentor, and it coincides with the lecture. So you can buy the book. That's great. But if you want, a little bit more deeper instructional, not necessarily deeper, but if you want to understand it maybe a little bit better, there's a lecture that goes with it that will kind of help give you definitions to some of the things we were talking
An
about.
audio lecture, like you have it on.
It's going to be it'll be in person or online.
Yeah.
So
So they can contact you.
it'll be so it'll be a live lecture. But one of the things, there was a lecture that I can't even remember who it was that went to it, but there's two types of lectures. It seems like the lecture where they're selling their products. So it's almost kind of like it's almost like a marketing pitch. They go through their product, they teach you the things about it, and then afterwards you can buy the tricks.
That's the majority of magic lectures, really, because the magician puts together this whole thing of their stuff, and then they teach you all the little nuances, how they perform it and whatnot, and maybe a few extra tricks along with it. And at the very end of it, you go out of the lecture and there's a table with all of their stuff that they just taught you, so you can buy their stuff and whatnot.
And I mean, that's how a lot of these lecturers make their money.
Yeah.
Is on what they sell, not by going to it.
Forget the ticket price. It's what you got after.
Right.
It's a what do you call that? A timeshare speech.
Oh yeah.
You gotta sit through the timeshare.
Would you like some free furniture?
Basically.
All we need is 45 minutes of your time. 3 hours later, I'm still not going to buy this timeshare. Can I get my furniture, please? Yes. Here is your chair that you have to assemble together with planks and 2x4s.
We don't provide the screws.
Yeah. So another one that we've seen is that they'll lecture about a topic, but then they're kind of guarded on how much detail they give, because it's their industry and they don't want the competition.
I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen it more than once.
So they're pretty guarded about their method and whatnot, and all their things.
Because with magic lectures, you learn some things that they've developed over the years. You learn some tricks.
You learn from their experience.
Right.
Yeah.
And there have been some where you're right, they're very limited on what they share. And then you don't feel like you're getting a value for your money. And then there are some, but I noticed the ones that are not insecure about it, the ones that share a lot, are the veterans.
Yeah.
Or the magicians that have been doing it for a while.
Yeah, because I'm sure some of them are afraid we're creating competition for ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. That seems to be a constant.
Yeah.
That seems to be something that's always a concern.
My belief is that there is so many businesses and so many people out there. There's enough work to go around for everybody.
I agree.
There's about 8 billion people on the planet.
Yeah.
I agree, but I also understand somebody who maybe specializes in developing things and spending a lot of time and energy into doing that, because what is also common is for things to be plagiarized,
right?
And that's a whole other topic, so we don't want to get into that, but that's also a very common thing to watch out for too.
So I developed this book called The Magic Mentor, and so I've been teaching magic since like 1987. Started out with MYI. Yeah, I know. Started out with them. Yeah, he is. That's why. And the shocker is, I just found out that I'm older than him.
Is that a shocker? Have
you seen?
He's still got some color in his beard hair.
Only by a few years. Yeah, he's shaved, so looking like a baby.
Yeah. You don't quite have the gray that I got though in the beard.
You still got some color.
But if I get a full goatee, I mean, you'll see it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so we digest or digress. Sorry, digest. So what my goal with this was, I didn't. So like I said, we've been MYI, SYM, Society of Young Magicians, and then through summer camps and through after school programs and all of that. A lot of homeschool programs, especially since COVID, because so many people started homeschooling. So I've been doing it a lot. So I wanted to write a book on actually developing a program that you can take to your schools for after school programs, or you can take to your homeschool groups, that essentially follows STEAM. So in the school system, STEAM is science, technology,
STEM.
engineering. No, STEAM.
Steam.
Science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So they added arts.
Okay, so
Science, technology, engineering, and math is what it used to be. They added the arts.
I'm from the 90s.
Steam.
There was no A.
I know. STEAM. So there's
That's a good thing.
in magic, there's so much, there's tricks that use a lot of mathematics. There are tricks that use engineering. There are tricks that use science, and
Aren't most of art
slush powder, is a
isn't all of
science.
it engineered?
Hmm?
Isn't all of it engineered? If we were to go
Yeah,
and argue
actually,
it,
I mean, if you were to go down to brass tacks, yeah, there's
every
engineering
magic
pretty much
trick
in
is
everything.
engineered.
But so I've developed this program where you can either follow a semester, so it becomes like a 15-week program, or you could do a 1 week after school, or during a break program, or you could do a summer camp,
Yeah.
whatever. So I break down how to establish the curriculum, how to do a teaching plan, so that the parents can be informed about what you're instructing, how to do some warm-up games, and how to incorporate games into your magic lessons as you're doing, so we have one that's playing card bingo. And so we have the 4 columns of cards and playing cards and a deck of cards, so that they get familiar now with, hearts, clubs, spades, diamonds, jack, all that kind of stuff.
We did that in our last summer camp.
Yeah.
And that was a hit.
People loved it.
They actually, every single class, I think there was, are we going to play bingo again? Are we
Yeah.
going to play bingo again? And it
So-
was just stupid. I'm reading off all the cards and the
Yeah.
kids are sitting there.
And what we would do is we would award them, once they got a bingo, we'd award them with a magic trick, which happened to be the trick we're going to use in the next lesson. But I didn't want to just stop there. So I actually went through the whole business aspect of it. How do you get in touch with the schools? Where do you start? Homeschool programs. How do you find out, that there are actually homeschool groups that you can participate in and work with? And then what are you going to have to do business wise as far as insurance and background checks, and what kind of rates can you be looking at as far as, how should you create your rate structure? And then I actually go through a series of tricks that mathematics. Here's some good visual tricks that you can do for mathematics. And this is what it teaches them. And this is the age level that they should be at in order to do that. So it's really a complete book on A to Z on creating this program, because I figured there's a ton of homeschool groups in every city, in every county. So, if there's a magician in Oxnard, they could be incorporating this program in one of the school districts. If there's another magician in Oxnard, they could go work another school district.
So essentially what you're saying, because I know the theme is producing shows and that sort of thing. So what you're saying is that this book can help you in producing a program.
Yeah. Getting yourself the work
Yeah.
instead of waiting for somebody to call you. And it's
Right.
literally the full nuts and bolts. So there are no, well, I'm withholding this because I don't want you to know what I know
Right.
to get this job. It is literally everything you need to know.
I mean,
And-
producing is, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but producing is a whole other skill
Yeah.
that we're not as performers, because I'm not just a magician. I mean, I'm an entertainer because I do lots of other things, but it's something that no one ever talks about, even in going to school. Like if you get a degree in it or whatever, that's not something that's ever covered.
Right.
It's always the performance theory. So stuff like this is really important.
Nobody tells you how to 4-wall it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, for a while, I didn't even know what that word meant.
Right.
But or talking about splits, if you, because right now, when this piece that we're producing, we go to venues and we pitch the idea, and then right away you negotiate your contract. And every venue is going to be different because you got to consider how big is the venue, what is the area like, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And you work out a split.
What are you going to be able to charge for tickets?
Right. And that's something that you collaborate with the venue.
Yeah.
Now, often the venue doesn't know anything about this sort of thing because what we're developing right now is in non-traditional spaces. So right now we're not in typical theaters.
Right.
We're in non-traditional spaces. So like often museums and different places like that, and they will often say, "Oh, well, what would you like to charge?" We don't know. We don't do this.
Right.
But then the next thing is, yeah, but for me is I'll say, but your neighborhood, your patron base, what they're willing to spend.
Right.
So it's important if you're producing something, if you can, to collaborate with the venue because they'll give you a lot of useful information.
So it sounds like that's one of the bigger things about this whole concept is you got to have good negotiating and communicating skills, especially when you're going to the places that you want to perform at.
Yeah, and for us, we don't try to pull one over on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
We try to be fair and to ask them what their needs are and what they think is fair for their patrons.
Yeah.
And sometimes what they think is fair for their patrons is a little too fair. Like, in terms of, because you want to make sure that you go into a place and you make a profit.
Yeah.
And they're not, because some of these places might be nonprofit organizations. And so they want to offer a price point that is conducive with that for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But, so it really takes, like you say, communication. You sit down and you have a meeting and you have several meetings and you talk about every point that comes up, things that they don't even think about. So you have to be, as the producer of your show, you have to be proactive and you have to be willing to be the one to bring stuff up.
Yeah, it's like you were saying with these non-traditionals. I mean, most of them have probably never put on a production or anything like that in their life.
No.
So they're relying. It's like, well, gee, how do we market it on social media? What should we do? How do we? Yeah.
Right.
So it does rely heavily on you to be the leader.
Right.
And
you have to guide them, but you can't just guess. So they also have to give you information.
Right.
But you have to be able to pull that from them because we've sat in meetings where they say, well, I don't know, this is what you do. And then I say, yeah, but your area, your customers,
right.
Your patron base. Because if you overcharge, no one's going to buy tickets.
Right.
If you undercharge, you're never going to get ahead.
Right.
And it's a different, I'm skipping into a different topic, but like when you're charging for tickets, there's a sweet spot that we've discovered that if you charge just a little higher, you might be surprised. There will be people out there that will pay that amount. So you got to be confident. But then if you run into moments in the run where you want to lower prices, because then you have, you use gimmicks where you have flash sales,
right,
or you put up promo codes, but it has to be high enough to where you can do that. Because if you start off too low, you can't go any lower, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next level is free.
Yeah.
So it sounds like know what you want and make sure that you have it at the ready. You're not kind of guessing.
Yeah.
No jazz promoting, so to speak, because that gets kind of dangerous.
Like no riffing.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I think too, like on Fred's point, they don't know what they know,
right,
unless you are able to ask the right questions to get it. Yeah.
Because they don't know what's important.
Right.
And if you ask the right questions, they'll be glad to answer. Or
when you do these shows, you should have your cell phones like silenced. So
yeah, I mean, all this stuff, this is really poignant for me because all this stuff is really at the tip of my tongue right now because this is really what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're really we've dove
Delved.
Delved?
Delved.
That sounds weird.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we've got
We dove in feet first.
We've gotten really into it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this unfortunately, I'm running out of time because I have another gig I have to do. So Joshua, I'm going to give you a choice. Do you want to do the trick, the item of the week, or do you want to do the cards?
Those are beautiful
Okay.
cards.
They are very beautiful cards. You know what? Let's do the cards. I want to talk about
I almost
this.
thought he was going to say item of the week for a second there. You look like you were like actually
This
even
direction.
contemplating it. Wow. All right. So
Let's
you're
do
gonna
the cards.
All right. We're going to do the cards.
There is an outbreak among us.
These are good
It
cards.
is limited to only a small
everybody's got-
portion of our population.
But you want to go
They
and
have
get
a
them now because
sickness.
we only have 2 left.
They have an addiction. They
You're,
collect
disrupting
bicycle
the
playing
commercial.
cards, which is bad for them, but great for us.
Perhaps
because
not.
We have almost 500
I don't
decks
think the
of
commercial's
playing cards
Yeah,
to choose
I
from.
didn't.
They'll go
I didn't
crazy
even
in here.
see it
They'll
going on
spend
the
every last
screen.
penny
Well,
they
I can't hear it because I can't. I got
This
it hooked up
is
to the
their
wrong
story.
thing. So let's
This
just assume that
is
commercial
Playing
ran,
Cards Anonymous.
and
Here on Magic Talk.
it says it's still running.
Huh.
No, it's done. Okay,
Okay,
but we just talked over it, so
So-
it really doesn't matter.
So there's an outbreak among us. There's only a small people that it affects, but
Look at that fancy box.
Oh my god, it's amazing. Here, actually, switch cameras. Switch to mine. You
okay.
can see it better on mine. That
Now
is gorgeous.
give us a side view and close the box slowly, please.
That wasn't slow enough.
No, that was not slow enough.
Okay, fine. Here, open.
Open.
Oh, I see. So you can see
Ooh,
the mechanics of the box. That's pretty fancy.
is that not fancy?
Yeah.
This is the White Tiger box set. of
And how
cards.
much? And how much does it sell for?
This sells for $120.
Yeah, $100 is the box.
$20
You're probably
Is what's
right.
inside.
So, not to be mistaken with David Blaine's White Lions, this is actually, this is a box set that was put out by Arc Playing Cards, and
Here, hold that up, Fred.
actually,
I'm
it's
gonna-
Fred got a closer camera.
I'm gonna go on you. There you go.
These sets, it comes in gold and silver,
Ooh.
and it has a
Beautiful.
shadow box effect inside the box. Actually, there's a couple of
Okay,
things that I've
Vanna,
seen.
You're done.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Now that one, what it is they have layers to the box that allow for multiple levels inside that
Can-
have been pre-cut out.
Can you shuffle them?
Well, actually, I'm gonna. We'll hold it off to the side. Can I see?
Yeah. So on the back, which I don't know if you were able to see it on the camera, but on the back is they're tigers.
Yes.
You know, since it's white tiger. In the front, in the shadow box, there's I don't know how many cards they've taken, but they've taken cards and sculpted through them,
Yes.
give it a 3D design, and there are tigers in the front as well.
Yeah, I think this was actually laser cut
It's really cool.
and then glued together.
But you just can't use them. I mean, you could probably use half of the deck, but I don't know why
What-
you would separate them.
Wait a minute.
You have right here, actually, this, I don't know if people can see it, but the depth of it is.
Oh my gosh.
The depth of it. Go to me.
I'm going to you. I'm to you.
No, that's Fred.
Oh, that's Fred. Hey, Fred.
Oh.
Oh, we got your beautiful smile.
So the depth of the box is actually really thick. And about a fourth or a third of that is the shadow box.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Oh,
the-
so they give you the regular
Yeah,
cards.
and then
deck is-
inside is
separately packaged.
yes,
That's
inside they have gold and silver, and the cards are actually gold, just like that. And
So the edges are foiled.
I don't know if they're foiled, but they are the
You're gonna open
Of course
Yes.
he is.
it. I can hear your heart breaking.
I know.
Right now.
It's
That's-
like
every
cha-ching,
time,
That's
every
money that's just
time,
flying out the
every
window.
time.
cha-ching.
He complains
Oh,
constantly.
Yeah, there's cha-ching. Oh, there's
Just
some more
like
money
that.
gonna.
Actually, yep, they the cards themselves are foiled.
Foiled on
The
back.
sides are not. The sides look like they're cut a little raw,
Those are
actually.
pretty.
But everyone can see that
And
these are foiled
I'm not
cards.
usually impressed by cards, but these are really pretty cards.
Go
So
ahead.
You could technically take those out and use them for a gig, and the box is still in good enough shape you can keep it on display.
Oh yeah, it's just like that. The box sits just as that's where the shadow box is inside the.
Right.
Let me see if I can point it over here. But
I'm
it's,
back to you.
okay, the shadow box actually has the layers on the upper, looks like third or fourth or something
Does
like
somebody
that.
else have a version of is this an original idea?
No, there's other people that have manufactured these types of decks.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And you have.
I think though with them is the whole deck was this cutout, so you couldn't like use a deck of cards. It
Right.
was the deck of cards.
As it's just
All right,
you got
Josh.
2 cards right here.
Yep.
Now the Ace of Spades.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay, so the cards they look like each suit is illustrated,
It's also hypnotizing.
right? The foiling.
Very shiny.
The foiling is very striking, and every single card is illustrated. Thank you. Is illustrated. Yes. Large aces.
Let's see. Oh, there you go.
So they're all enlarged aces. And do I have anything else? These the court cards
So
are nice. They've got instead of in half, they're cut at an angle. I like it when people do that, more or less. 'Cause
okay.
It's interesting and
So
different.
$120.
And
gosh.
one more thing.
He's got a gig. Don't forget he's going to a gig.
Identical Jokers. That's actually really cool.
Uh,
I would
he's-
not use this for a performance, but you could because of these.
Yeah. It'd be kind of cool just to pull those out to
Right.
do a trick with.
Right? Just
So-
one. These
Anyway.
are magic cards, and you can see it because they're gold.
That's right.
Or you could do silver because
Okay,
the
can
silver
I
is
go
the
now?
same weight. I guess.
All
you
right.
know, I was having fun.
Wow.
These are $120.
Yeah, we established that already.
Okay.
Thank you.
You just gotta do it. You get it.
I can cut that mic. So that's really cool. So we have a few of these in stock, and you can buy the demo unit for 10% off.
No. This is going right on the shelf, man. Are you kidding me?
So,
I'm not giving these up.
anyways, I personally wouldn't mind collecting it because of the box. I don't really
Oh, yeah.
care about these, but this is
Yeah,
really
he's a
cool.
box of them.
He's
Yeah.
a party pooper when
I
it comes to
think
cards.
The playing cards, the deck boxes are pretty cool too.
Yeah, they are, but this is really cool.
And this impresses the chicks. There's nothing.
Oh.
There's nothing like a fancy display of playing cards.
It's like,
Is my
oh,
sarcasm too obvious?
it's like, oh,
on
do you,
over
do
to
you
my
have
place.
cigars? And then they open it up and they're
I've
like,
got one better.
anyways, I gotta run. Thank you all. Thank you, Fred, for coming in. It's been a while since you've been on the show. Always glad to have you, Josh. Yeah, I'll see you later.
Well, you know what else we have to do, right?
Yes, at White Rabbit Magic.
We believe in magic.
Magic.
See,
You
he's
did.
doing it. Thank you.
He was
Yeah,
close.
he
Yeah, you
remembers.
did. Okay, here we go. Thanks again. See y'all next week. Oh, by the way,
Who's
my bad.
stalling now?
My bad. On Respecting the Craft, on our private channel, Respecting the Craft, we will be doing a demo on the Spirit Slates by TCC. This is the pro version. As you know, their regular version had some issues. So we will be checking out the pro versions of the slates, and we will be doing a private review on our Respecting the Craft page, so you can check it out, and we'll let you know if we find any snags. I can already tell you there's one that one of the slates wobbles a little bit, but we'll get more into detail with that. And
Now you need to go.
that was my plug for Respecting the Craft.
All right.
Now I need to go. So we're out.
All right, everybody.
This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.